morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the 16th January edition. And the show, the forum. And my name is Ellis Ferdinand. It's going to be a very interesting discussion today. Welcome to the forum, and today's discussion is going to be more of creative arts issues. But before then, the editorials. I'll be talking more about the social-political issues in this country. What happened in Parliament yesterday? They showed the forum. My name is Ellis Ferdinand. The political issues, the editorials. I'll be having 3 minutes editorials today, and I'll be talking more about what happened in Parliament, more education on what happened in Parliament today, before our main discussion. This is our number one socio-political and current affairs program in this country. Live on Summer Radio. My name is Ellis Ferdinand. Today is 16th January 2021. January has been long. Somebody said January has been long like Amy Adebra's neck. A bit interesting. Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Retired Alban Bagwin, said the NDC and the MPP's argument about majority caucus. He is of the view that then this MPP having the independent candidate with the MPP, it makes the MPP a majority group, not a majority caucus in Parliament. A lot of discussions on politics. But today I wouldn't be doing more politics. Today I'm going to creativity, creative art industry.
Okay, yeah, we go. Okay, this is my motherland, Lady Ghana tiny. Anything I go talk, you make a tiny. Bo, Boniya, hey, Boni Dane Fay. Many my friend, he can see, many won't pay. Malaba, he can't find the Baja Minkabo. What you know, Ninja Lava, I promise on my own, I'm going to try and Shona.
The show has just started and a lot of messages coming to my phone. Please wait a bit. Two great personalities. Two great media personalities for that matter. Now let me give a bit history about creative arts in this country. Today we're discussing the development of creative arts in Ghana, the industry in Ghana. And when we talk about creative arts industry, we're talking about an industry that is dealing with publishing, music, videos, movies, arts, culture, poetry, and any other thing that deals with creativity. In Ghana, it's basically detailed around show business. But aside show business, creative art is even studied in schools as a subject. The new curriculum for primary schools known as the standard-based curriculum talks about creative art, making creative art the central pivot, the pivot of education currently, as well as computing. Now, computing has helped people to develop videos, animations, and all these are part of creative art. But basically, today we are going to look at two aspects of creative arts: music development and publishing. When I talk about music development, I'm talking about digitization of music. Ghana's history has it that we used to buy cassettes, then it moved to CDs, then we use VCDs. Now we are using pen drives. Songs are now being downloaded. Today I have an expert in digitization of music and a publisher. Jonila will be joining us via Zoom. I also have Amel Debra joining us. He's also an expert in publishing. He is a celebrity and lifestyle blogger. Amel will be joining us as well. And we are having detailed discussion on creative art and these two segments for today. Subsequent days, we're going to look at other segments. But today we're going to look at music and art publishing. As I said, today we're not going to discuss politics. Politics is a way of life, and the show, the forum, deals with socio-political issues. So today we're looking at creative art industry.
So that the peacemaker, for they shall be called the sons and daughters.
Do you have the ambition to become a musician? Do you know how it takes to do music? Today the experts will be talking to us on how it takes to do music. Now, about publishing. Today the country, the media landscape is made up of blogosphere. The blogosphere is made up of people who blog stories. They take detailed discussion on blogging. The bloggers are the people moving the creative industry in Ghana. The mainstream media, the traditional media, the print media, they are all doing their best, but I can tell that the bloggers, that's the modern journalism, are taking over what we call mainstream media and also digitization of our news and reportage. So Deborah will be giving us more insight about how we can develop our creative art industry, most especially publishing and music for today. Are they on? All right. So as they are about joining us via Zoom, we will have a discussion on creative art. When you go to our schools, for instance, the new curriculum is talking about creative art as a central pivot. So we're going to look at how best creative art can give us opportunity to produce future leaders, skillful personalities in this country in this future. A lot of messages coming through, a lot of questions on my phone.
Okay, this is my motherland, Lady Ghana tiny. Anything I go talk, we make a tiny. Bo, wapu bonia hey, boni dane fe hey. Many me fende he kati and many won't pay. Male bahi can you fende bajamin kabo. Boy you loco ninja la wa me kebo. I promise on my own I'm both tire near and shona. Ling off mina sana, libo na no shona.
Yamaena, Jumanchi Africo May, Cohen Kabila Capito, Zahida Kai. Banda bambanci mu daina zalunci ubangijin Allah wai ma zumunci ya fi komai annan Muhammad wai ma zumunci ya fi komai iyayenmu wai ma zumunci ya fi komai zumunci ya fi komai.
See, this is not a peace song, it's a love song. Peace and Ghana getting married, keep the love strong. See, a peace we cannot risk. War at home is like cardiac arrest, cause home is where the heart is. Let the trumpet sound victory. The battle that we won is a battle for a peace. We promise on the honor that we'll never fight again. Cause Ghana is a happy place, with joy we should defend.
Get up, what's up, motherland? I don't feel like orbiting an aphia. I'm in love with you now. Tamajiba majihara mabiatao wasanyao wila doji la fufama gakachale how. From the big six, you still to fix things. Mawa hamakafu wa Chicago will reach us.
If you don't want make it be, nobody for fight, we don't need one a piece. Hey, income boom, hey, is it with, huh? If we will to protect the nation, mother gone and anyone I save it. Oh yeah,
about the PP, hey, about our summer day, Kurjan, about the PP, hey, I want to know. Now, summer day, walk, hey, bar. Mafama Wabo Susa, walk as some chon one six, and many bay use on Kenya, Shuara, which she has if you won't pay for Amos who are when you did your cocoto. A lady be okay, palace, a lady more care, ballet, a leopard you call care, ballet. I'm a which one in him. It's all about a peace. Hey, Baloba.
Phones in a doom, stores ya to doom, police say you foom, every I say soon, to pay papa, depending on high, Mwashakuma Muma, Memina Danima, Papa, would don't know what it is, Ram, Musimujania, Sema Photo Gem, who recognize BBC.
Ghana, it's no more.
Papa picture free me, Dayum Namitium, no war.
So that the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons and daughters of God. Hey, we pray for love, we pray for peace, we pray for unity always. To make our nation better. Oh, to make our nation better. Bring peace to our land.
Summer radio. Summer radio.
Okay, this is my motherland, Lady Ghana tiny. Anything I go talk, you make a tiny. Bo, Boniya, hey, Boni Dane Fe, many me feel he get here, many won't pay. Malaba, he can't find the Baja in Cabo. What you look on in the lava, where me Cabo. I promise on my own, I'm over Tayani and Shona, but they want to be Nasana.
All right, we welcome back from the short commercial break. Jonela is online. Jonela. Yeah, Jonela. Good. Yeah, Jonela. Yeah, Jonela. Yeah, we're trying to get in touch with Jonela as well. Jonela, are you online?
Hello, hello.
Good. I can hear you clear. Can you hear me?
This is Amayao though.
Oh, okay, Amayao. Good. Good morning, Amayao.
Good morning.
It's been a while, and we're meeting on radio for the first time.
Yeah, so.
Today on a political platform, we are discussing creativity.
Very necessary.
Great. Let me welcome you once again on the show. Amadebra is one distinguished blogger and a publisher. He's a celebrity and lifestyle blogger. Today he wouldn't be talking about politics, but he's going to talk about development of creative art industry in this country, and then he'll be giving us more insights about publishing and music, because today we're discussing these two segments, publishing and music. His expertise in blogging has made him get that niche for himself. He's been getting local and international awards, and Amel Deborah is one great personality, described as many as the man with the longest neck in January.
In general.
Yeah, he has been troubled a lot on social media by his followers for the love they had for him, and he is one person you wouldn't take for joke in publishing. He's been respected for his in-depth knowledge about celebrity and lifestyle. He's been in the game for almost a decade or more. I'll give him the chance to tell us 1 minute about himself before I bring in Jonila as well. Amel.
Hey, thanks for having me. I mean, just like you said, in a nutshell, you've highlighted what it is I do, who I am. And yes, I'm a blogger, I'm a reporter, I'm a publisher, content creator. I try to be jack of many trades, and hopefully I'm master of a few. In a nutshell, that is who I am.
Great. Is Jonila? Yeah, Jonila. Yeah, Jonila, can you hear me? Yeah, Jonila. All right, before we get to Jonila, Amel.
Yes.
A lot of people are sending messages asking if you are going to talk about politics. Some people said you were an advertiser for some political parties. You did some adverts for them, and it had its own thoughts and backs from your followers. So they want to know if you'll be talking about politics, since they know the forum is a socio-political show. Yes, I'll talk about politics. A lot of messages, a lot of messages coming on my phone, a lot of questions, a lot to be discussed today. And I think both musicians as well are also coming with messages about digitization of music. And I'm sure Jonila will be giving us insights in that as well. Let me start with you as you work on Jonila's network. Blogging.
Good.
Why the concept of blogging in the first place?
Well, I think it got to such a point that the internet became a place where a lot of things were happening. And as part of the great things the internet comes with is the ability for people to sort of express themselves. And that's how come the concept of blogging was birthed. So it became more like the way people would in the past write a diary entry talking about their day, their experiences and things like that. People now started chronicling that online.
Okay.
And it became popular. People were growing followers, and people started sharing opinions on what it is that goes around them in their communities, etc. I got into it at a point when I had grown a lot of presence online, and I had the opportunity to go and speak about a project I was doing at the Highway Africa conference in South Africa at a time when blogging was peaking all over the world, and people had come to share their experiences. And so when I came back to Ghana, that was in 2008, I was like, I'm already doing something in the online space where I have a lot of presence. So why don't I now narrow it into blogging, where I create some sort of identity for myself. And so even though I was already doing it, I now took it more seriously, and one thing led to the other, and Amedebo.com was birthed, and it has grown. We are in our 13th year or so of amiadeba.com. But before that, like I said, I had another blog where I was using, and I had a lot of contributions online as well.
Good. And it seems the blogosphere has been determined by the niche, the popular niche that is celebrity lifestyle entertainment. Is that it? Because I know we have different kinds of blogging. I do education blogging. I now engage in political blogging. But I think entertainment blogging that I would say you introduced has become the income earning venture for Ghanaians, for Ghanaian youths particular. Is that not it?
It is. I wouldn't say it's become an income earner for most people, but it is what is more popular and easily everybody wants to do. I think maybe because the people, they see people like us in the front line and they think that is what they all have to do. But other people have differentiated themselves in different areas and are doing very well as well. In Ghana, sadly, that has been the case. Anytime you hear of blogging, people think it's just posting some trending issue on your social media, on your Instagram, or even having a website that pretty much talks about what's happening. But only a few give it that personal touch, or have content that introduces a lot of the personal touch, which technically is what blogging is about. Whether you're sharing experiences, whether you're sharing views, whether you're sharing thoughts on trends, etc. People just share the trends, and then you don't see their personality within what they are sharing. Only a few people do it at all. So yes, that is the state of what blogging has become in Ghana. But like you said, there's a lot more to it. And in fact, there are even more rewarding aspects to it that are not entertainment. Because realistically, some keywords, some spaces generate a lot more revenue if you become a taste maker and you have a lot of audience for that. I mean, let's take someone like a YouTuber like Wodemaya. He's not doing exactly entertainment and all of that, but he's generating a lot of views, a lot of content, a lot of money doing what he does, because he's become like he's built a community around what he wants to do.
Good. Do you realize that publishing is part of creative arts, and they are more or less like the holders of creative arts, since without publishers, people don't see what creative art actually does, from tourism, music, movies. Without the bloggers or the media persons or the publishers, that is why every celebrity has a PR expert that works for them. It tells you how publishing has gone to. But my issue is that you've realized that the mainstream bloggers, majority of them copy stories from others actually and share. And some people look at some headlines and ask questions. Do you realize that readers mostly insult bloggers if they see any blogger with an error written information and an information that may be described as an information disorder or a fake news? People just send any information and bloggers are being insulted, which means that they insult almost every blogger, whether you are good or bad. Do you realize that? And how can we solve that as bloggers or as media people?
Well, that's quite true. And I've seen it everywhere. Everybody is put in a box, and when the bad comes, we take it together. But I think realistically, what happens in what blogging is, like I said, in the beginning, if you're posting blogs, if you're posting news, technically you're not a blogger. You have a news portal or something. So I would really want people to distinguish that. When people have websites and they're popular, they don't automatically become bloggers. that is the distinction I want people to make. And if ever that is going to change, I don't think it's going to change, because like I said earlier, this is what the space has become. This is what Ghanaians have come to understand as blogging. And rapidly, there's a lot of people emerging online, people putting out information, and the truth is sometimes you don't even know who is behind that. Whereas if you're a consummate blogger, I think it's more an identity that people resonate with. It's more a personality people resonate with.
Yeah.
So you say something, they know you are the one saying it. If you are sharing your experience, they know you are the one saying it. So there's a culture around it, and it's not just putting out information and letting it go viral. So currently, that's unless we start making those clear distinctions, it's going to be difficult. And yes, I think that's what I'll say. It's a difficult question, and a very real one. I get those comments all the time, but it shows. I also sometimes say that it's hand come, hand go. A lot of these websites have become popular because they're giving people what they really want, which is the sensationalism, the gossip, and the weird stuff. So if people are keen on that, and these people are thriving on that human nature side of them, then it means the market exists for them to do what they are doing. But if they do it and people don't read it because by nature they see such content as useless, then there wouldn't be space for them to do so. I remember somebody accused me that my blog is only read by my family people because of my style. But we've consistently been around almost 14 years, and we are thriving. It depends on what you want to build and how you want to build it, and you get what comes with it. There's a lot of social media, people don't sometimes sit down to analyze and understand clearly what is happening, and make informed decisions of their own. Most of the time, people just join the bandwagon, and if somebody, for instance, if you make a post and the first comment is in a tone, if you're not lucky, that will be the direction of all the other comments that will come in, because people don't spend time to read between the lines and make decisions for themselves. So all of these would have to change if that blogosphere, that space is to become very healthy. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know a lot of messages are coming through. Lots of people who wanted to know about how they can also get into blogging, and then how that can develop creative arts, and a lot of issues, a lot of discussions. Amel, people are asking, how can they start blogging and be recognized as good bloggers?
Yes, for me, it starts with you identifying what you want to do, what you understand by being a blogger, what you want people to know you for. If you want to share your views and opinions or whatever it is on Instagram, for instance, then you should know that this is who you are and how you're going to do it. If you're going to use Facebook to do it, know and understand that this is what you want to do. Or if you are going to have your own portal, your own domain like we do, and then use that to do it, you must know from the beginning, because each one of them come with different sort of understanding, different audience, and how and what you can do with them. So conveniently, if you are doing on social media, i.e. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc., or even YouTube as a YouTuber or a vlogger, those ones are easy because the channels are already set up. All you have to do is create your presence there and try to make it grow and popular. Whereas if you're starting from scratch and building your own website, which you use for your blogs, then you must have some sort of understanding. Even with the website, there are the free hosted ones like Blogspot, WordPress that you can do. And then there's the self-hosted ones, which you need a little bit more understanding as to how to register your domain, how to host your domain, and then how to even manage the website, whatever content system management that you want to use. So if you want to start, these are the initial things that you have to consider. And once you are clear in your mind what you want to do, then you understand each space and what you can do with it. And then understand that the growing will not come immediately. It takes time, and even more so, depending on the kind of content you are creating, you can get so many in terms of audience, and then you may be limited. Of course, if you are talking about, say, children's rights, if that's your focus, you should understand that you may not get the same level of audience as somebody who is talking about a more general lifestyle or entertainment or politics or business sort of blog. So these are the kinds of early advice I will give to people who want to go into blogging.
There are lots of messages. There are people asking if I can even bring this program to schools so that you join and then educate people more on blogging. I think we will look at that in subsequent days. So now, Amel, let's look at the blogosphere and creative arts, because publishing is centered on creative arts. How can we develop publishing in Ghana, which has been taken over by the blogosphere?
Yeah, so I think publishing is evolving all over the world, and now with a lot of gravitation towards online, digital, etc., there's a lot of content in that direction being published, and so it's good that here in Ghana it's caught on, and we are taking part in this sort of online and digital publishing that is going on. So sorry, what was the question again? I just lost my thought right there. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Amel.
Yes, I started with the, but I just lost my thought again. So give me the question again so I follow on it.
Oh, okay, yes. I'm asking that with publishing, how can publishing help develop creativity?
Okay. Yes, like you said, there's a lot of talent, a lot of creative minds out there, and often with talent, there's always a need for it to be showcased, for it to be exhibited. And so that's where us publishers come in, because we create a medium, we create platforms where we can exhibit a lot of this talent on. And so it's important that in terms of the creative space, we identify all these elements and bring them to the fore. And I think when it comes to publishing and the creative arts, that is a key thing we can do, highlighting and placing spotlight on these creative processes and people involved in it. You would agree that by and large, a lot of it in Ghana is centered on music and film.
Yeah.
And even though film is suffering a little bit nowadays, but in the long time, it has been that. So there is also the importance or the need for us to also every now and then throw more light on the other sectors, from fashion to like artworks, all forms of artwork, even tourism, and other things. but then also it's also a lot of it is also going to be based on the interest of the audience, and where, whereas we can diversify our content as publishers, the readers, the audience must also open themselves up for such diversification, so that you don't always want to feel comfortable listening to dancehall. You don't always feel comfortable only listening to Sarkodie. There's a lot more out there for you to consume in terms of the creative space, the creative arts. Yeah. So I think I'm clearing my mind that no matter what, some things will have more popularity in terms of audience size than others. But I think as publishers, we have to give people the option. And in my space, at least, it's easy to do so because most of the time it's just a post you do, and it doesn't take so much. So for me, sometimes it's just a matter of even somebody sending me a press release on it, and then it's a matter of me publishing, because that's all it takes. So yes, using myself, I would say I try as much as possible to show a lot of diversity and in the content we produce in terms of the space we find ourselves.
Okay. So let's look at how can we describe somebody as a blogger? Because I think a lot of messages are in. People wanted to know whether it is those who are popular on social media that are bloggers, because now whoever is on social media and is famous, we say the person is a blogger. The people want to know who actually should be considered as a blogger when rewarding bloggers, because there's an argument that some time ago David Mowley was challenging the fact that he wasn't placed at the right position as a blogger during the top 50 bloggers, I think 2020 top 50 bloggers. How can we identify somebody as a blogger in the domain of the blogosphere when rewarding them? Amel.
Yes, I think I've answered it in parts. I think the definition of blogging is key. And so if anybody is doing research and compiling list of people that they want to fit in, they must have a definition for what they are working with. So I sort of agree with David Mowley. I don't think his issue was more with his position, but also more the definition of what or who a blogger was and the list that came out. I also had a little reservation because I think it goes back to really the description. And for me, and it basically is somebody who is able to share activities around him, opinions of activities around him, somebody who is able to sort of hold the mind of his people or his audience with things that go around him and his community. So it's not news, it's very, very different. And so if you're doing news, it's not technically blogging.
Okay.
Yes, news is news. For me, news is news. Unless the news comes with your own opinion, which somebody like Chris Vincent of Ghana Celebrities usually does. He puts himself even in the news. So in a way, clearly, he's sharing his opinion and all of that.
Yeah,
and
Amel,
you realize that most of the people that
before you continue,
most of the people we've come to describe as bloggers are basically just posting things. Yes, there's not so much in terms of technique going in, but it's more just posting. And for me, that isn't really a consummate blogger. It's not about publishing it. That's why you people now sometimes talk about bloggers and journalists. I think there's a clear distinction. One is very of a personal orientation, and one is more of structure and of way of putting things together. I don't know if I'm making sense on this definition, but yes, it's not very easy to put out. But like I said, our definition of bloggers is not somebody who is popular on Twitter or Instagram or on YouTube, posting funny video, like posting things that are trending. That's not technically what a blogger is.
So technically, Amel, a blogger should be somebody who writes his opinion on matters.
Yeah, there should be a lot of self in it, because you are sharing views, you're sharing your experiences, what you're going through. That voice must be there. And you realize, even with me, a lot of the things I do are news, but you always see that every now and then I do personal things that I'm sharing, how I'm dealing with COVID, how I'm dealing with, I travel and I'm doing that. So those are the things that can be considered as blogs in a very technical sort of manner. But if you're just reflecting news that is some other mainstream media house has published and you're also publishing it, technically it doesn't make you so much of a blogger.
Then I think people are appreciating your explanation, and I think the new ones coming up, because people are asking how they can become bloggers, and I'm sure you've responded to that. People are asking how to differentiate a blogger from a journalist. I think you spoke about it.
Yeah.
Differentiating a blogger from a journalist. So from your explanation, it means that there's a difference between a blogger and a journalist. In this regard, can a journalist be a blogger and a blogger be a journalist?
Yes. They can. Like I said, it depends on the style and the technique and the medium in which you put the stuff out. So, for instance, you can have somebody work at Joy FM where he reports his usual stuff, and then that person can also create a blog for himself where he does more personal stuff on there, again with a different sort of tonation, a different sort of layout and presentation that fits what the blogging is. I think somebody like Manasseh was doing it very well because he had those two things. Until now, he also has his own website where they do news and all of that. So yes, it's easy to be both, and sometimes it's not so clear cut because even in traditional journalism, it makes room for opinions, letters, etc. And so you realize that it's not so different if you have your own platform and you are sharing your opinions, and then now sharing your opinion on a platform that is mainstream news media. So it's sometimes not that clear.
So because I think this has become a technical issue, people wanted to know difference between a journalist and a blogger. So it means the blogosphere has an inherent journalism. Is that it?
Well, again, it depends on what the focus is, because for instance, if you are a food blogger, yours is to perhaps present issues around food in a number of ways. You can do it in a very journalistic manner in terms of how you present your facts and your writing, and you can do it in a very sort of free and just yourself. So the format in which it takes, the tone in which it takes, and all of that. So these are some of the distinctions that may come in. I don't know if I answered it correctly. I guess Jonilla is still having issues.
We are still working on journalists. I think he said he can't hear us, so we are working on his sound. He's on, but his sound, so we're still working on his sound actually. So that he will come and give us more about the digitization of music, which has become the.
Sometimes it has its downside.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. We're still working on journalist sound to get him.
Mina sana, nibuko na noshona.
Yawaena, zumunci ya fi komai, kowane kabila ka fito, za a yi da kai, banda bambanci. Mu daina zalunci. Ubangijin Allah wai ma, zumunci ya fi komai, annan Muhammad wai ma, zumunci ya fi komai, iyayenmu wai ma, zumunci ya fi komai, zumunci ya fi komai.
See, this is not a peace song, it's a love song. Peace and Ghana getting married, keep the love strong. See, a peace we cannot risk. War at home is like cardiac arrest, cause home is where the heart is. Let the trumpet sound victory. The battle that we won is the battle for a peace. We promise on an honor that we'll never fight again, cause Ghana is the happy place of joy we should defend.
What's up, motherland? I didn't feel like Obidi and Afia. I'm in love with you now. From the big six, you still to fix things. Chicago reaches.
If you don't want make it be, nobody for fight, we don't need one piece. Hey, income boom. Hey, is it with huh? If we to protect the nation, mother gone and anyone to save it. Oh yeah.
About the PP, hey, about our summer day, Ferdinand, about the PP, hey, I want to know. Now, some of you walk here, but from my wabo, what has some tron one six, and many bay use on Kenya, Fiora, which has if you want to for a month who are when you did your cocoto, a lady be okay, palace, a lady more okay, palace, a leopard you call okay, palace. I'm out with you all in him. It's all about a peace. Here, Baloba.
Phones in a doom, stores out to doom, police say you foom, and we say soon. Paye papa, depending on how Shakuma Muma, Memina Danima, Papa, Wodona, what you room, what's the Mudania to Gem, BBC. Anna, it's no more. Picture free me, Dayum Namitium, no war.
Instead of the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons and daughters of God. Hey, we pray for love, we pray for peace. Pray for unity always. To make our nation better. Oh, to make our nation better. Bring peace to our land. Nation better. Peace to our land. Nation better. You know we're gonna do it again, right?
Okay, this is my motherland, Lady Ghana tiny. Anything I go talk, we make a tiny. Bo, wapu bonia hey, boni dane fe hey. Many me fende he kati and many won't pay. Malaba he can you fende bajamin kabo. When you look on Indala, what me kabo. I promise on my own, I'm both tired and shona. Ling off a mina sana, Libokuna no shona.
Yawaena, Jumanchi Afiko May, Koan Kabila Capito, Zahida Kai. Banda bambanci, mu daina zalunci. Ubangijin Allah wai ma, zumunci ya fi komai. Annan Muhammad wai ma, zumunci ya fi komai. Iyayenmu wai ma, zumunci ya fi komai. Zumunci ya fi komai.
See, this is not a peace song, it's a love song. Peace and Ghana getting married, keep the love strong. See, a peace we cannot risk. War at home is like cardiac arrest, cause home is where the heart is. Let the trumpet sound victory. The battle that we won is a battle for a peace. We promise on the honor that we'll never fight again, cause Ghana is the happy place with joy we should defend.
Chota fare bona ye madogo meta yuga. A grone bana no nyinya wule ni tijepa. Get up, what's up motherland? I didn't feel like orbiting an atheist. I'm in love with you now. Tamajiba majihara mabiata wasanya wila doji la fufam gaka chale how. From the big six, you still to fix things. Mawa hamakafu wa Chicago will reach us. If you don't want me to be nobody for fight, we don't need one piece. Hey, income boom. come boom. Hey, easy with it. It be we to protect the nation. Mother gone and anyone I save it. Oh yeah.
About the PP, hey, about our somebody, Ferdinand. About the PP, hey, I want to know now somebody.
Yeah, Jonila.
Yes, big boss.
It's been a hectic morning. You know, technology has its own ups and downs.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why this should happen today, but it's quite unfortunate.
Yeah, sometimes technology has its own ups and downs. And Amel, are you there? Okay, Amel is being reconnected to join. He asked of you, but as you are around, let me come to you.
Yeah.
Amel started with the publishing, and we had a little bit discussion on bloggers and journalists who were bloggers, the distinction, and then a lot of questions coming through, a lot of messages coming through actually.
Yeah.
I think Amel has joined.
Okay, great.
Yes. Let me get your view on the distinction between a blogger and a journalist from your perspective. But before then, let me introduce you. Jonela is an expert in blogging, most especially music promotions and digitization. He has been great in that direction. He's been one of the few bloggers who have taken blogging to a different level. He has taught so many places, has made much impact in the digitization of music. So this is Jonela. You can get more about him at jonela.net. He's live on the forum today. We're not discussing politics, but we're discussing development of creative arts industry in this country. So Jonela, you're welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
Great. So as I said, we are looking at the distinction between a blogger and a journalist.
Yeah. So the traditional definition we all know for blogging is you creating a content which is basically your idea but a particular subject matter. But as time goes on, it's expanding. You know, it's taking a different direction because of how fast technology is driving every aspect of our life. So now it's taking a different direction. Basically, we all know journalists, what they put out there. Now, unfortunately, when we're talking about journalism, it only comes into mind the traditional media actually comes into mind, what they do on radio, TV, going down there to look for content, especially with the facts and everything. But these two is gradually merging because these days we see even the traditional media trying to open an umbrella where they have blogs and all that. It's when you see content that are coming into the system now, it is not more of blog, it is becoming more of a traditional media creating content and trying to extend it to their space on the internet, that is on their website as well. So gradually the difference that used to be there is merging. Now the way forward is to inculcate the very traditional ethics when it comes to journalism. We have to inculcate it in this aspect as well, so it doesn't look like there is something so special about journalism that blogging doesn't have. Because when you look at it now, it looks like when you tell people you are a journalist, that respect is more higher, excuse me to put it that way, than to tell somebody you are a blogger, because of the perception that we have encouraged over the period that we've been in this space. You get it? Now, I can honestly tell you that when Amel started blogging, that respect was there, or even is still there. You get it? If they know you as somebody who started doing this within that time frame, that respect is there. But the new generation, because of the kind of perception we created in the mind of the people, that integrity is no more there. So what we also have to do is to encourage ethics. We shouldn't just blog because we are looking for ABCD, but that respect should be attached to it. We need to build that integrity that journalism as an industry on its own also has.
All right. Amel.
Sorry, I think I was on mute. I've unmuted now.
Oh, okay, good, great. Jonila, your man is in now. He's in. Jonila made mention of the fact that there has been a perception about blogging that has made the interest, the respect that a blogger should got, as you had earlier when you started the blogging. There has been a respect that you still maintain. Do you realize that there are certain stories that you make people ask Amayaupa, which means that there is a kind of perception that the public has about your kind of blogging. So they don't expect you to go the normal way. As Jonila indicated, he even mentioned your name and said, when you started blogging, that kind of prestige and recognition that bloggers do have.
Sorry to interrupt, but he still has that respect.
Which is still good, which you still have. It is just at its best minimum to the general blogosphere, since only few of you still have that pedigree. Is that one reason why bloggers are disrespected, in quotes? Amel.
Well, I think to a degree, yes, and also it's because of everything that we accept to be a blog or a blogger. Like I said, not everything that we term as a blogger or blogging is blogging, and so if there's nothing wrong with an individual wanting to be known as a renegade and doing things in that space, then that is who the person is, the identity of the person as a blogger. But often, a lot of, like I said, just because you have a website, just because you have a website or you are putting things on social media, doesn't make you necessarily a blogger. There must be some element of content creation in there. So when we start looking at that in defining who a blogger is, a lot of it will change, and a lot of the rough edges would sort of fall off. They will be in their own space, and but currently what I don't like is everything that happens online, people term it as blogging, and it's that is what is wrong and needs to change from the beginning. Even Joy FM, my Joy Online is not a blog, but people would consider it as a blog just simply because of online. And I think that is where the distinction needs to be drawn immediately, and then everything else falls into place.
Johnny,
but like you're saying, a lot of things. It's not a cool thing to be a blogger now in Ghana, because in the minds of people, bloggers are people who just put out trash, and that is not what it is supposed to be. It's gotten to that point that even when you are doing what a blogger is supposed to do, now they look at you funny. I remember, especially now on my Facebook, for instance, I put out a lot of my personal stuff now, and you realize that people don't understand it. That is really what it is supposed to be about. It's rather now the odd one, and they'll say, you see comments like, your colleagues are doing this and that and moving on, and you are not doing it. So it's a crazy space, and maybe sometimes I'm selfish, but I think about what I'm doing and the audience I'm building, and speaking to that community more than what's happening everywhere else. And I think most bloggers have that mentality. It's so much your community and your audience, your interaction with them, more than what is happening elsewhere beyond your space. So sometimes I think more inclusive, like within, than what's happening all around me and trying to correct it. Because if I create that community and the people understand that this is what this community is for, and once it's going the way I want it to go, then for me, I'm doing a perfect job. So I guess maybe that has been my mentality and what has kept me going. I mean, for almost 3 years now, I've started bringing people on board, and so now a lot of the things that go out on my website is not from me, but even that, I have explained to them that amiadebra.com will be seen as a voice of Amiadebra. So there should be a reflection of the things I believe in, and it's not every story I want to do. And even if I want us to do, we want to do it with a little of my touch, because in the past, if you've noticed, you realize that I'm somebody I like a lot of humor. There's a lot of, I don't like to say much, but if you sometimes read even my heading that I'll put in, it makes you understand what I'm saying, even though I'm not saying it straightforward. So all those elements of those personal touch, people knowing that this is who Amiel is, this is his voice, I think all of those things in a bigger picture constitute what a blogger is or becomes, and how his audience or her audience interact with them. So it's not something that is usually face value, but sometimes it's beyond that. I hope I make sense.
Good. Amel, before I go to Jonila, I have received a message from one, he's a professor at the University of Ghana. He sent me a private message on WhatsApp, and he said he believes that the concept blogging itself should be a topic to be discussed, so that people get to understand what blogging is about and who they should consider as a blogger. And I think he made a lot of sense. Yeah, he's saying his message is saying that he is enjoying the discussion, and then he believes that because the blogging is not fully, it's not the only discussion we have. It's more about creative art. He is calling for a discussion,
a separate
discussion for blogging, where we will get more bloggers who have contributed to the blogosphere in Ghana, so that because the number of people who are sending messages, it means that there's a lot of following for the discussion.
Yes,
so
yes.
He is of the view that
I agree with him.
Yeah, he is of the view that we should get a day so that when we discuss the blogging, we should make stories about it. People should understand what is meant by blogging. And I think to a larger extent, Jonila, I think to a larger extent, the professor has made a great contribution.
I wanted to suggest that because it looks like blogging now in Ghana is all about what happens in the traditional media. Then we want to extend it on our platform. But if we should go into the details, we have to pay attention to people's idea, people's understanding of a certain subject matter. That is content. You get it? So we have to look at what content is in general and how to explain. If you are putting something out, your understanding, your perspective, that is what we should be looking at. Not just maybe any subject matter, then we all jump on it, then it's all over the place. I would love to stick to a particular platform than going to visit all these platforms. So what we lack now, we have the interest to put out content, but what we lack now as an industry is how to go about it a different way. Because we always want to put out, we always want to be the first to put it out. We forgo credibility and integrity. So at the end of the day, we don't really have to detail what people should know. So I think the professor is right, and what Amel is also saying is right. So at the end of the day, we have to encourage people to understand the fact that blogging isn't all about general news and all that. Because even if you should be a fashion blogger, there are things that you can put out. You can still be into a grid and own a blog, and still you have the audience. So we also have to look at how to build audience for our content. The reason why people don't want to spend much time on creating irrelevant content that can last for the next 5 years is because they feel like, okay, this thing, people wouldn't come and pay attention to it. But at the end of the day, these are real stuff that we need to do. We have to start the whole culture from a certain angle that can, bring people's interest.
Good, good. Arnold Mensah Lavanyo, Xylophones Arnold. He wanted to join our discussion before, but because he's recording, is this a Code 97? That has affected his contribution. But I'm sure, going by the professor's contribution, I believe my producers are working on that. Within next month or so, we're going to.
That should be
a topic so that because over 50 messages coming to my phone alone, and the social media as well, it means that people wanted to get the difference so that they will now know who to follow.
Great.
So that they wouldn't be misinformed.
For me, the whole idea about blogging should be about content. You get it? Not necessarily what everybody is talking about on daily basis. Even if it's something that people are talking about on daily basis, it should be your understanding. That should not deviate from the reality. You get it? Let me just pick a general subject. Let's say, let's assume the weather conditions that we have now. What is your understanding of the current weather conditions? What is those into, what's the name? Meteorologists, what are they saying? We have to create it in such a way that when they read, they wouldn't be far from the reality. You get it? It's all about content. Then you have to also know that you're doing it for the people. So in as much as you want to put out your understanding of that subject matter, you also have to tune your content in such a way that people will keep coming all the time. You get it? So we have to think of how to create original content and how to tune the audience understanding, or how to bring audience closer to this content. So I think this is cool if we can now face our real subject for the day.
Because I think there are some bloggers and journalists sending me messages, which means that they are all interested in the main topic, blogging. So we shall work on that as well. Greetings to Prince Accra, Johnny Hughes, and all of you. It's been a great morning. Johnny Lab.
Yes, sir.
Let's look at digitization of music in this country.
Come again.
Digitization of music.
Okay.
Good.
Right.
And you are an expert in such issues. How can we digitize music in modern Ghana?
This is a very broad topic, but let me take it from a very small angle. So we have people who are producing content on daily basis. These are their intellectual property. And when it comes to music in Africa, we all know that we are one of the best. We produce quality content. In fact, people have already produced content that people have sampled, people have, taken over these years. But what we lack now is proper ownership of this content online. We know this person is the songwriter, is a composer, is this, is that. But when it comes to ownership online, it's what we don't have. So first, from where we stand now, it looks promising. Talking about the interest in digitizing our content, but what we lack right now is we having a clear agenda on digital distribution. As we speak right now, we don't have any well-known Ghanaian digital distribution company that is putting content out there on behalf of content owners and clearly redefine ways they can generate streams. They are all going according to the foreign standard. We have these individuals like companies like TuneCore, DistroKid, many of them out there. I know in Ghana we have MI Promo, we have British Africa, we have a lot of them. But what we need now is a centralized system where you can be in your community, your village, anywhere in Ghana, create your music, list the people who own the content, send it to that central system, let them copyright it for you, then they can then distribute it for consumers to enjoy. At the end of the day, you make your revenue. Are you getting it?
I get you.
But because we don't have this centralized system, these individual bodies that are elsewhere in the world, they are using their standards to market our music, which is not really going well for us. Because, trust me, some of the platforms that they distribute the songs to are not even available in Ghana. Talking about Spotify, even Amazon, some of these platforms are not visible in Ghana. So it's very difficult for content owners to really track who is streaming their content. And talking about how much they pay these artists keeps changing every time. You get it? So it looks like, okay, these bodies have become so powerful to the extent that they give you what they want to give you, not necessarily what you deserve. So yes, we have the content. We are using different platforms to distribute our music, but I feel it is not good because when you go to the UAE, they have a platform for Angami. So you can be an artist anywhere within the UAE, produce your content, send it to this centralized system. They copyright it for you so that any organization, for instance, if I want to record a video and use your soundtrack, I'll pay a percentage, use it, you make your money. But we don't have that system in Ghana. We only have, in Ghana now, we only have rights organizations that are supposed to collect royalties on behalf of the artists, which I still criticize because I feel that system is not credible enough. Because as of now, they still don't know the number of music consumers we have. Talking about radio, pop, anybody who uses music for any kind of activity, they cannot give us a clear data on that. So they cannot even boast of paying artists what they truly deserve. I don't know which rights organization in Ghana can come out and say that last year they paid Kwame using this amount of money for playing Willie Tebeko-Domri. No, we don't have it. But from where we stand, Link Entertainment can tell you that, okay, when we release Open Gate, Spotify give us this amount, Apple Music give us this amount, YouTube give us this amount. You get it? So that is where we stand now as an industry. And as I just mentioned, the way forward, if we can come together as a country, as an industry, we can have a clear way forward for our music.
So, Jonela, let me ask this. There's a message from the person says an underground artist. He is asking
they're
that.
Up and coming, anyway.
Yeah, the up and coming artist. Good. And he's asking that. Now, who is responsible for creating the channel, the platform? Who is responsible?
Who is responsible for creating the channel?
Yeah.
Which channel?
The platform to digitize the music in Ghana, the Ghanaian platform.
Right. Okay, so I think we as an industry, we are supposed to do that before we present that to government.
Okay.
You understand? Because the politician over there doesn't know the specifics of what you want to do. So you have to create the specifics. They will look at the economic value, how it will help add up to our GDP and everything before they will make a move. You get it? So as we speak right now, the last time I had a conversation with Arnold on his platform, the suggestion is this: let's all come together. We have a music union, we have rights organization companies, we have all these ones. Let's all come together and say that let's create a platform. Let's say Ghana Music. Right? I know that the platform GhanaMusic.com, they're really doing well for Ghana Music. Let's create a platform. Yeah. Now that platform should have certain details. Okay, so the song Open Gate, who are the rightful owners? Who is the composer? Who played what? These are intellectual. Music is basically an intellectual property. So the owners, the original owners of the song, let's indicate that. Let's look at the executive producers, asking who financed the entire production of the music. How much percentage do they deserve per that production? Then we factor all those things. So when the money comes, everybody takes a percentage. You understand? So that platform, we have to come together, create that platform, make a move to government and say, government, this is what we have. This is what we want to do. This is what is going to help the artists in this way. It is going to help government in this way. I'm tired of hearing, music has contributed to this country's GDP here. Why can't we make a move? You understand? We might not be perfect, but if we make that move, contact experts in other countries, I'm sure we can make a headway because we have artists who are doing so well. See, back then it's very difficult for an artist to make 1 million views on YouTube. But it's possible now. They are making million views on YouTube. They are making million views on Boomplay and all these ones that are giving attention to Ghana music. So it means that gradually we are making that move. We are making that population. These people don't even download direct files to their
you just go listen to it.
They now stream. You get it. So even the up and coming artists at let's say how is it called? Jomoro can be in his community, make moves. Haven't we seen artists in the various towns, various regions, making moves, playing their own shows and all that? It means that regardless of their location, They're using the internet to learn the best way to do it. So we see a lot of artists have a lot of audiences here, but it doesn't match up with how much they make in terms of revenue for their content. So I think we need to have a clear direction. Let's start with the move, approach government, and government will surely come our way. And I think the same thing applies to the people in the movie industry, those into art, poetry, and all that. We can have a centralized platform where immediately you fall under this umbrella, you should be able to make money from, all these ones.
Good.
We cannot be uploaded.
Jonela, I'll come back to you to tell me about education and music. Before that, let me go to Amayao.
Yes.
Amayao, you listen to the digitization aspect. He gave a lot of this contribution in terms of how to project the music to the next level. I want to know from you about branding, because publishers are those who handle brands, project brands. How can we brand our music, and for that matter, the musicians in Ghana, taking into consideration the up and coming ones too?
Yes, I mean, the issue of branding is always a dicey one because there isn't a single way of doing it, and you're not always so sure what would work. But I think it's important to sort of put our various brands out there as much as possible, so that likelihood of being found is high. As an individual, you must know who you are and what you want to project, and try as much as possible to use all the channels available to you to project that image, that brand. And collectively, as a country, when it comes to our music, I think we're not doing badly, because the thing is, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of diversity. There's, even if you take music, there's a lot of genres, and you cannot just say that you're projecting one for everybody to see. And with Jonela speaking on digitalization of music, it shows you that there are a lot of opportunities to put yourself out there, whether you're established or you're up and coming. So it's left to you to create the right brand that sits well on all of these platforms, and that gives you the opportunity to be seen. Yes, it's good. Social media has come. It has leveled the playing field by a mile. And so individually, you can just tap into these platforms that exist and find a way of putting yourself out there, and your music being heard, your personality being seen, and people getting to know about you. It's not as easy as it is. It's not so easy, but at least there's this platform. I mean, earlier on we talked about publishers existing to make these things visible, to promote the creative arts, but also internet, social media has sort of even the space, the field in such a way that you don't even always need publishers. You can be your own publisher, and drive your own narrative, let people see you. So times are changing. People must understand the times and how to use every tool that is available to their utmost benefit. That's what I would say on that.
Somebody sent me a message. The person is asking that how can teachers be branded and promoted in Ghana using the publishers? So he's asking about how
teachers.
Yes, somebody is a teacher. How can the person be branded and pushed in that mainstream to get that recognition as a teacher?
So I mean, there's a number of things people can do. If you're a teacher, you can be an e-teacher where you sort of create a brand for yourself. You create a channel on, say, YouTube, on Facebook, where you teach people. And you can do it such a way that now you even set up a way people can subscribe to specific things that you're teaching. So in terms of bringing teachers in that context, this is what I can say, because it will be a lot of your private teaching that you can highlight, but not so much maybe what you are teaching in your classroom, because then it's more the school you are teaching at and what you're teaching them. But if you want to create an image for yourself as a teacher and brand yourself, it will obviously be that you are now putting yourself out there as a private teacher where people can now sign up and learn from you. And I don't know if anybody is doing such a thing in Ghana, but it's very, very possible, especially in these during the last few months where COVID came in. It would have been nice for somebody. I've seen people do TV education, long distance education on screen, but it would have been nice to see one person who sort of has taken his teaching online and create that persona for himself. If you have a dancing teacher who teaches students and then he's gone viral, but we haven't seen somebody stand out. At least I haven't seen one, but it's very possible. Like I said, that is what the internet does. That is what this world that we have now allows us to do. And so it's important for people to find within themselves what they want to do and what they can do, and use these tools that exist for us to do so.
Now, let me come to Jonila. Jonila, why do you leave teaching?
Okay, before I tell you, let me add up to what Amel just said.
Okay.
You know, there are lots of principles in science, right, that we need to understand in a very simple term. Why is it that when you throw a stone into the air, it falls down? Why is it that when you put a piece of paper on water, it doesn't sink? Why is it that when the sun shines, you see something like a water on a highway? Why is it that, how's it called? The sun supposed to rise from this and go and settle over there? You know, these are principles in science, and I thank God principles per science doesn't change. Now, if you're a teacher that can break this thing in a very simple term for people to understand in a 3-minute video, you have audience all over the world, because these principles are, you know, practiced all over the world. You get it? But then you have to look at a better ways that you can present it. Now, I'm happy a lot of teachers we have in the system now are IT inclined, some are graphic designers as well, and all that. So if you can take advantage of all these things and create things, this kind of content on a platform that people can watch, it will be great. Those that are not good with videos can resort to blogspot or can even own a domain. You know, solve these basic problems where people can come. If you are able to do these things, somebody elsewhere can invite you for a seminar, for a presentation. Somebody can call you for a gig or something like that. You get it? So in doing that, you are building a brand that will be influential in the future. These days, I want us to be very careful about things that become very popular in the system. It looks like anything can become popular now. I know it's not a Ghanaian problem, it's worldwide, but then people should stand for something. You get it? Stand for something that 5-10 years, when you are no more, it will still be there forever and ever. You know that some of these people who theories are online now. We have a Facebook page for Albert Einstein.
It's true.
You get it? Yes. So teachers have a lot of things to do. Lockdown is partially over in some countries, but if you can use this period to do this thing, you can start by solving some of these problems on your Facebook page, on your Twitter handle, on your Instagram. Then as time goes on, you move these content from your social media to a blog where you can still share with a lot of people. You get it? So They just have to learn it gradually. You should go on YouTube. We have a lot of the things we call tutorials on YouTube. They're also created by somebody.
Yeah, that is true.
You get it. So we have a lot more to go. Yeah.
There's a message from this a tutor from a college of education, and he said, said Johnson. He's saying that he actually enjoyed the contribution from both of you, and he's also asking if we can have an extended version of this program where students will also get, because it's a new information to them on the fact that teachers can also be branded, which a lot of sense has been made from both of you, and a lot of messages coming on my phone. I believe there is a lot of people who are interested in the discussion, and they believe that the creative art can develop.
Right.
I'm getting message from the ministry as well, Minister of Education too. Okay, but before I come to you. John, like you were once a teacher, so what happened?
Yes.
He served that question the first time.
Yes, but I still come back.
I was trying to dodge this particular question. I don't know why you I think, you see, to be a teacher, your friend, I love it. Funny enough, before I started as a professional teacher, that is before I went to college, I used what I like, these people teaching from kindergarten to the SHS level. Before I went to SBA College of Education in Koforidua.
Yeah.
Then after that, I was in a classroom for close to 4 or 5 years. Then I decided to move on because I think I've contributed enough. So let me just leave the classroom for somebody to come and take over. So never
interestingly, do you know who is asking these questions?
No.
These are graduates from SDA College of Education. So I'm not surprised these are your former colleagues.
Right. Anybody who knows Janila during his school days in Koforidua will know that back in school, I'm that guy who intentionally ran away, go to a radio station. I was working with Kwame Gazi then at
Yeah,
Yes,
Koforidua.
Yes, I will run away, and my lecturer will be listening to me and send me a message. You come and meet me here, and I was always ready for that. You get it. And on campus, I was doing stuff related to entertainment. I was in charge of communication. I was part of the musical group here and there, blah, blah, blah. So for me, I've always been passionate about doing something in the creative space. You get it. So even though when I was in school, or even though when I was a teacher, I was still doing stuff, but I think I need commitment. I have to be committed to what I want. I don't want to be having divided attention, and I don't want to deceive my kids, because if I know that I have to run away from Adan to Accra, it wouldn't give me that enough time. And anybody who knows me will also tell you, Janela is time conscious. There's nothing like 8 o'clock, then 8:1. No, it's 8 o'clock, it's 8 o'clock. So I always want to be on time. So I just have to leave one for the other. Yeah, that's it. And I've not regretted it.
There are some people, I don't know if I'll mention the names, but okay, a lot of ladies too, actually. I don't know if I should mention the names. I don't know. But how did you exit GES?
Come again.
How did you exit GES?
How did I exit GES?
Yeah.
Thanks to my former headmaster, Mr. Adams Kwame, who now works at the Adan East General Education Service Office. You see, in life, certain things you can't explain it. Because when I got to the school, the headmaster, like my father, my brother, my family, everything, he is one of the best headmasters. Not because he supported my agenda to me, but he understood every individual's understanding of the whole system. You get it? So one day, I just walked to his office and I said, "Say, I want to stop teaching." Said, "Oh, how?" Yes, I just walked straight to his office. I want to stop teaching. And he's like, "So who?" teach the kids creative art, who will do this. Because when I was in a classroom, my kids love the subject because I always want to make everything practical for them. Creative art, like you see kids coming around the window, everybody just loves it like that. But the calling is somewhere. And after explaining to him, he said, okay, I'll help you through the process to leave. So within 1 week, that's it.
Wow. So you taught for only 4 years?
Yes.
So you enjoyed a single spine for 4 years?
Come again.
You enjoyed a single spine salaries for 4 years?
Yes, it was 60.
But somebody's asking whether...
It's something I wouldn't encourage, because of the challenges that I went through. Imagine, you not taking salary at the end of the month. And funny enough, the plans that I had before I left, they all failed within 1 month.
Wow.
It was between me and God. Yes, it was between me and God.
Seriously?
And I want to thank everything failed. So let me be honest over here. So I left US basically to work with the group Galaxy. Anybody who knows the music group Galaxy.
The music group, okay. They are shaman guys.
Yes, the boys in Ashaiman. And they are challenged with the Harbour City record label at that time. Everything happened within a month. You get it? Because I was working as a road manager doing my stuff on Jonila.net, publicist here and there. So I wanted to help them because, you see, those guys, they gave me the platform to start as a blogger. Because I was handling their social media handle. I was putting their press release, everything together. You see, so I was experiencing that evolution from just being a social media to a publicist to everything. So while working, handling their social media platforms, I don't know, they were just encouraging me, Charlie, this is if you go to learn or you go to do more. So I started from there. You get it? So throughout my days at SG College of Education, 4 years at in the classroom, I was working with them. I'll leave the classroom, go to Kwame Dazi at Vision FM. I'll move from Koforidua to Accra every weekend because we have to be on Joy, we have to be on Gates, we have to be, like everything, I have to take them for shows and everything. I was in charge of their social media, I was their road manager, I was everything, apart from the manager, financing everything. I was doing almost everything. You get it? Then when I left the classroom to focus on the brand, everything just fell off. You get it? There was no communication, nothing. There was between me and God. So, Charlie,
is this the first time you've ever talked about this issue?
Oh, yes, this is the first time. Like, this is the first time I'm coming out clearly. And my friends, everybody around me knows that I left the classroom not because there's a bigger package elsewhere waiting for me, but I left the classroom because of Galaxy. And the reason why I left the classroom because of Galaxy was when they got the record label. In fact, the people in charge of their media, blah blah blah, it was Polaris company, Empire Entertainment. They were handling stuff, but Empire is big and they also have their own responsibility. So as a new brand like that, you might not necessarily get the attention that you deserve. You get it? So they called me. See, they only know me as somebody who knows how to use social media. They called me. This is where I still respect the group Galaxy, regardless of whatever happened. You see, if somebody gives you a cup of water, it's a blessing.
Yeah, sure.
They called me and said, Jonah, we needed a Facebook page, we needed YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, fine, let me create it. Then eventually I created everything, and they said, okay, they need somebody to be posting on their Facebook page and everything. So I started, like, everything started from that side. You understand? And I have to learn how to handle a brand, a page, everything. My life, everything was about Galaxy, everything. You get it? So I even have to strategize to move from just being the guy who works with Galaxy to a blogger. So at the time, people were not ready to work with me because they know that, this guy, if you give him work, if he's Galaxy, he will take this. You get it? So you have to, strategize and move.
A lot of bloggers I think there's a lot of stories that will be coming out today because lots of bloggers also give messages.
I've declined to speak on this issue for a very long time. Because for me, what is ahead of us is what truly matters. You get it? So I left from that side. It was just me and funny enough, when everything crashed, people say what I've done for Galaxy, knows that Jonah can do ABCD. So some of the big brands in Ghana, as a matter of fact, they were calling me, oh, they'll meet me, let's do this, then gradually. And I love nature as well. So from there, I said, okay, let me start Jonas Sauce. Then I started Jonas Sauce. So
Good.
that's how the whole thing, like, it's been on a lot. I cannot go into details.
I'm sure
right now.
Odebra has been shocked this morning, actually.
Yes, I didn't know he was once a teacher.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay, he
so-
was. I think he completed in 2013 or so.
Oh, good.
Yeah, 2013, that's true. I don't want to mention his mates because a lot of them are females. I don't know.
Oh, come on, you can mention everything.
But there's a question for Jonila. There's somebody say he enjoys the discussion. They never knew this part of Jonila. That is true. Even my Odebra is shocked, actually. Someone want to know, when did you join Galaxy and when did you leave Galaxy?
So I met the group Galaxy in a town called Japan, the first town after the Academy Bridge.
That at Impoku, Japan.
Correct. So we met as friends. You know, one day there was this event, and I happened to be the MC. You know, so I introduced them without knowing them anywhere. I've not heard their sound, but you know, as an MC, you always have to spice up everything for the crowd to enjoy. So after introducing them, we met somewhere and they said, oh, Tali, the last time we introduced you for the show, the way we like them. So we did text you things. So I said, okay, cool. From their studio as well, Socio-Political is their producer. From my house to the studio is also not far.
Okay.
So eventually, they'll come and visit me, I'll visit them, like that. You get it? So they recorded most of their songs at Japan. So
Okay.
when they moved back to Shyman with their producer, Socio-Political, we still have this contact. We've been chatting here and there. Then at that time, I was still teaching in a private school somewhere. You get it? So from there, I move on to, you know, up to Ferdinand. So I went to Kokoria, SG College of Education. And we're still having a contact. That was when we met Mr. Gideona of Harper City Records to help them. You understand? And Mr. Gideona, I want to say big shout out to him because he has really done a lot, not only for Galaxy, but, you know, anybody who works with Harper City Records. Now, this is the reality. When Galaxy met Harper City Records, the man also doesn't know anything about music. And I'm happy he has always accepted the fact that he wanted to help the boys, not because he's into showbiz, but because he loved them. You get it? So they started Harper City Records. Then I think a month into the whole business with Empire and things are not moving the way they wanted it. They gave me a call and said, like, Charlie, we need somebody for Tema. We said they won't help me. But we needed a Facebook page, social media, you know, somebody who will be posting our stuff online. So if you get time, come. So immediately they called me. I have to move straight to Koforidua Station, straight to Accra. I came to Accra, then we met at Harper City Records office. We had a discussion on the way to go. So the social media, I created all those things. I've been managing till, you know, all the issues came in and I had to leave. But fortunately, I'm still in charge of a lot of things. I can never leave Galaxy. Even if they should kill me, I can never leave the group because I see it this way. They gave me the platform to start what I'm doing till now, even though I'm not directly into the showbiz space as compared to in the past. I still see myself doing stuff like that. So we met and we've been handling their stuff. Every weekend I'll move from Koforidua to Accra just because we have to go for an interview, we have to go for a video shoot, we have to meet ABCD, you know, the industry, you have to network a lot. So every weekend I was, and so Sabbath, you hardly see me at church on Saturday, and everybody knows. So I'm always ready for the punishment that comes. You get it? So I got to second year and becomes very tougher because at that time they had released the song Boko Boko, which actually, you know, shot them into the mainstream platform at the time. We shot a video, promotion. Sometimes I have to sneak. I don't remember the last. See, in Koforidua lectures, I don't go catch 1 month. Because I'm always out of the classroom. So when they were doing posting, get this thing clear. When they were doing posting, you know, you have to select where you want to be posted, the and everything.
Yeah, those days.
I never selected any. So when they posted me, you know, that is the last sound on that set in Ghana. There's a village called Pute. When you get to Adanfo, you have to take a motorbike to that side. Now, at that time, car comes to Pute once every day. And it's one taxi. If you miss that taxi, forget, unless the next day.
Wow.
And from the roadside, from Adanfo to Pute, you have to pay about 10 cedis. I'm talking about 2000, like the time
13, 14.
14, those times. So that's how stressful the journey has been for me. Till blah, blah, blah. Then I noticed that the responsibility was becoming too much because I was so committed. These are not people that I just met by chance. These are people who all moved from Japan. So it's more of family. Are you getting it? So the best thing to do is to leave the classroom, concentrate on the group because see, our CEO is very busy. He's a clearing agent at Temahabo. And there's nobody that can run this stuff. And the boys, they trust Janila so much that everything will be new. Even if, see, I respect this thing for them. If the song is ready, they will let me listen even before they send it to the CEO that this should be our next release. That is the level of commitment we all have. You get it? Then as time goes on, blah, 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 I noticed I don't have to leave the classroom and focus on the group. Then I left. Within 1 month, there was a problem that we cannot solve because it's not one-time problem. It has been happening gradually. It has a long history. But the breakup happened a month after I left the classroom.
Wow. In which year?
This is like 2000 and... Okay, the year Nanado came to power.
2017.
2017. You get it? So the breakup happened at that time. But people don't know because not everything that you have to put in the public. You get it? Because Mr. Now will not come out and talk. Galaxy will not come out and talk because Galaxy is a group that's what I don't want people to be talking about. Oh, the group will split. See, they've been there for ages as brothers, before music, before Galaxy. You understand? So they don't want to give attention to the breakup and everything. So everybody was handling their affairs on their own. As I'm talking to you, the two of them are together somewhere. Not as Galaxy, as Dave and Nanaya. You get it? That is how it is. And I respect them for that alone. So, but it's been a long journey. Somehow you have to keep
Would they ever come back? Would the Galaxy brand ever come back?
With the brand Galaxy come back, they will still do music as the acceptance that Ghanaians have to give them. But I feel that we have to sit down and strategize certain things. You get it? Because this is business. It's not about business. Yeah, but we are cool, even though we don't talk back. Family, I can call any of them at any time. We still talk and all that.
Amel.
Yeah.
Do you have any question for your brother? I'm sure today you've been.
Well, I've heard a lot, and that's good. I mean, I'm happy that he followed his passion. I mean, passion is something that you can bottle up for a very long time, and I feel that the reward that comes from doing something you're passionate cannot also be sort of overemphasized. And yeah, so I'm glad he followed his passion and he's doing what he really loved.
I think Jonila and myself had similar experiences actually. But it's great. It's great. A lot of messages. I tell you, bloggers talking about Jonila. A lot of messages.
Wow.
I can predict what will happen after our discussion.
Nothing should happen.
A lot of stories will be coming out. Actually, a lot of stories.
Stories will not come because right now I need peace of mind. Right now I'm in the bush somewhere trying to do ABCD. So nothing.
Somebody is asking, as I earlier indicated, about music and education.
Yeah. How
can we blend music with education? Because you know the new curriculum, the foundation of education is the standard-based curriculum that is for primary. Government is now introducing the Common Core program, that is CCP curriculum, which has been hanging. You know, public school system and their own issues. But how can we inculcate music in schools to develop the creative arts industry?
Well, I think I would let Jonila tackle that
Yeah.
because I remember at least when I was in JSS, we were learning some music and art in cultural studies, and also throughout the education process, there was a lot of art inclined subjects, and so I don't know what it is now. So for somebody who has been part of the GES, I think he's in the best position to answer that.
Yeah, Jonila,
Yes, sir.
it's true. You've had an experience with the Ghana Education Service as a former employee. Tell us how music and education can move to develop the industry.
Okay. First of all, I want us to bring back cultural studies and the proper music and dance that was in the previous curriculum. Because that curriculum has a lot to offer Ghana than what we have in the current curriculum now. I don't see any emphasis on music and dance creative art. Now, this is what I want Ghana Education Service to do. They have to bring back the original music and dance that paid attention to our local music, the folk music, everything. Because that is the foundation that we have to build solidly. Let's bring back the culture week. Let's bring back the music days that we used to have. You get it? Let's bring back the music that was in the previous religious and moral education. You know, we had some topics in, the previous curriculum like that. We have those things. Now, let's bring teachers that, can deliver, that can do more practical, teachers that can play these drums, teachers that can do the dance. See, any country that sleeps on their tradition is losing everything. We eventually lose everything as well. Let's bring back all these things that we used to do back then in school and stop building the perception in people's minds that music and dance is for wayward people in society. No way. That is why I'm happy kids from the most privileged homes are into music now.
The Davidos.
You cannot. Yes, we have the manifest. We have name them. And I'm happy these days musicians are also bringing their parents into the limelight. We see the relation between Amare and the mother. We've seen the relation between Dope Nation and their mom. We've seen the relation a lot of them. You get it? Now, these things in a way is encouraging parents because trust me, you can never do this thing without the support from your parents because
you have 1 minute remaining.
My mom always tell you, I know you can do this thing at church during children's service. Children's week celebration. I'm always the MC and all, and that is where the motivation starts from. You get it? So we have to encourage all these things. Now, I think let's assume I'm coming from an angle where the assumption is we don't have a foundation. Now, we need to have a long-term plan as to what we want to do with our music and dance or the creative industry. What do we want to achieve in the next 10, 5 years with our music and dance? Let's build that agenda. Then we can now have a long strategic plan that will help us achieve this long-term goal. You understand? Then we can see the economic value. Because let's look at it. When you go to Dubai, you simply pay for art. Because when you go for how's it called? When you go to the desert, there's a...
Yeah, Amel.
Yeah,
they are reconnecting journalist line.
Okay.
It's been an interesting discussion, actually, with the kind of people sending messages, lecturers, bloggers, musicians. It tells you there's a lot of... I think your camera, check your camera for me.
Yes, I was... My battery is almost low. That's why I turn it off so it reduces the consumption.
Okay, good. Because we have about 10 minutes to finish our segment, actually. Yes, I was talking about the public interest in our discussion. What do you think is the way forward?
Well, I think it's important for us to have a lot more of these conversations because it's not just blatant conversations, but they are very educational in nature, and it helps in the long run to better the various sectors. So I think we need more of these sort of platforms to discuss the issues. And I'm happy you put it together. And I'm also happy that people are responding the way they are because we do it together. If we decide to do it by ourselves as publishers and we don't get interest and support from the public, then it's not going further. And most of the time, we don't even get the opportunity to explain ourselves to people who may have questions, may have misgivings about what we do. And I think such platforms allow us to sort of have a meeting ground where we trash out these issues. So I think, yeah, it's a good way to go, opening conversation between ourselves and the public.
Yeah, Jonela,
Yes, sir.
looking at the reactions from the public and with regard to our discussion, what do you have to say?
Well, first of all, I want to say I'm grateful for you giving us the opportunity to express all these brilliant ideas that we have. And it also means that this is also in the interest of the people. And we have to encourage such conversations for people to always follow. Because if you want to build an industry, you first have to create a platform for discussion for people to understand your direction. You get it? Because as I was saying, creative art and education, we first have to redefine the whole angle. It shouldn't just be like, okay, let's also do this for people to do. No, we have to, as a country, we should have a long-term agenda as to what we want to do with our creative art industry. That is one of the challenges we are having. I was citing an example that when you go to Dubai, you simply pay for art. Why am I saying this? When you enter the country, there's the colors and everything that you see is interpretation of their customs and traditions. You understand? When you go for their desert safari and all these ones, you simply pay for art because you see a lot of people dancing. They'll do the things, the body art and all these things. That is their culture. That is their tradition. You understand? So there's always an investment in the people who represent these things. In Ghana, we don't pay anybody to encourage playing and teaching Palogo and all these things. They don't pay anybody to, like we don't have a long-term agenda. There's no investment in the people who do our kente. There's no investment in the people who do create the patterns for our club. That's why the Chinese are taking over our industry. I'm saying this because I've spent so many years in Japan, where we have the only textile factory we have. They produce, now the factory that used to absorb over 5,000 people is now employing less than 900 people because the industry has collapsed. Yes, because, that is the JTL. Because,
Okay, yeah, JTL, Japan Textile Limited.
Great, because we don't have a long-term agenda as to what we want to do with our creative art industry. You get it? So we have to redefine what we want to do. When you go to India, you pay for art. The entire country, even look at how they represent their religion and everything is art. But Ghana, we have a lot of talented artists, we have a lot of talented musicians, but the long-term plan, look at it, inauguration, look at most of the state affairs that we see. They use a lot of our traditional musicians. Even our president's favorite song is a local song. Are we encouraging choral music in Ghana? No. Look at even some of the industry people. Look at the confusions they are creating. Look at the disparity they are creating. Secular music, gospel music. So we don't have any sense of direction. I'm talented. Let me do music. Oh, they will call me for red carpet. Let me play award, this and that. At the end of the day, we say, oh, 5 years later, this person is seeking for help in the media. You see, so we need to have a direction. I'm not too sure that somebody who sings or dance in Dubai 10 years from now will be complaining about, not having funds to survive because they pay attention to everything. We can do same. We have the resource. We have everything. See, Ghana is not Accra.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That has been the perception, actually.
Yeah, we have to change it. Ghana is not Accra. Ghana is not Accra. We have a lot of talent too. They need a platform to sell, to market what they have, their intellectual property. You get it? So we have to wake up and we have to challenge the leadership. But we can only challenge the leadership if we have an agenda. Challenging does not always mean criticizing them. Present your agenda to them. Your agenda should have future. Your agenda should be able to walk into the next 10 years ahead of us, next 20 years ahead of us.
Thank you very much.
Ourselves before we question the status quo.
That is true. I want to say a very big thank you to Jonila and Amayao. I'm sure a lot of discussions shall still go on after this. A lot of people wanted to know more. And though somebody asked a question, but I don't know if Amayao can respond to that actually. The person is asking about your involvement in politics, but I remember very well you were just advertising some paraphernalia. I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
Yes, so for me, like I've always insisted, I'm not a political person, but I am a media person, and I basically reflect on the politics of the day. So, and also as a media person, I thrive on advertising. So if during the election process or period, parties approach me to advertise to sort of put their campaigns on my platform, I will do it. But I don't associate myself with the parties. And so MPP advertised, I don't associate myself with the MPP, and NDC also advertised, and I don't associate myself with the NDC. So I think it's important for people to understand what is endorsement, what is advertising, and all of that. If I'm ready to go into politics, I would declare that I am doing this, and I don't want people to put things in my mouth and say he's here, he's there. If I want to be here or there, I would state it. But at the moment, I don't need to, because that's not who I am. I'm not a politician. I'm not into politics. Mine is media, mine is content creation, etc. So that is maybe next 4 years. Parliament I had a point.
I hold the head.
Mestane as independent.
2024 independent candidate. I'm Aldebra.
Yeah.
Sure, are you sure?
Oh yes, I may consider it. I mean, our brother John Dumelo went.
Yes, and he did incredibly well.
He did very well. I'm going to go in as I'm going to test it. I'm not going to spend so much money. I'll do my campaigns online. If you say it's fine, if you don't say it's fine.
Which constituency?
I'm just going to test the environment and see.
But it makes a lot of sense going independent to just market a different brand of yourself with politics.
Yes. If I go, I'll be fully aware that I may not win, but I just want to go and test it. So I will do it very carefully. I'm not going to spend too much money and then go bored like John Dumelo has gone bored.
Not easy.
And easy, Charlie.
So 2024, I should be expecting you as an independent candidate for which constituency?
Oh yes. All things being equal, unless something comes in.
I know the slogan already.
And what's the slogan? Is it a long neck?
Thank you.
Will it be the long neck party or what? Okay, as for independent candidates, you don't have a party.
Independence, yes, I won't need a party.
So 2024, we should be expecting that.
Oh yes. Unless something changes my mind in 2023, yeah, I'm going with Vim. I want to test the waters.
Wow. But to a larger extent,
how people will attack me.
the attacks will come. It has its ups and downs. But you know the advantage when you go independent, you don't lose following.
Oh no. Yes. I think, and the insult and attacks will be less.
Will be less
because we are a deeply politicized country.
Good.
It's so sad when you see comments people leave on social media because of politics, and you realize that even a few weeks ago, that's how all this long neck thing came about. Because there were a lot of negative, politically driven comments, and I was like, I don't want such stupid sort of comments on my platform, whether MPP or NDC. And I don't know how people interpreted what I said, but now they tend us to something against the MPP or the NDC. I believe that people can leave comments about politics, and it doesn't have to be insulting. It doesn't have to be disparaging in any way, and that is what I've always wanted my platforms to be. And when it becomes excessive, I think I have every right to say that I don't want those comments on my platform.
Because it's true, because I think the younger generation should also change the status quo. We need people with deeper ideas. There's Julius Malema of Economic Freedom Fighters in South Africa. He's a very good friend. You know, I started following him because he was the organizer of Jacob Zuma's party. And then he left the party as a youth organizer and formed another party against that party, and shockingly had members of parliament.
Yes.
And the members of parliament are very intelligent young men who can take over parliament. I don't know if you take time to watch the proceedings in a South African parliament. I'm telling you, sometimes I just sit down to watch and I shake my head. But I see that in the new crop of men and women getting into our politics. I listen to the Sami Jimfis, the Opon Krumers. You see that these are also young men that are coming into the system. I don't know if you follow the South African politics.
Yes, I do see some every now and then, especially when it comes to the parliament. In the very dramatic videos that come off. But yes, for me, I'm open to a lot younger ideas, a lot of young energy, but also they shouldn't be misplaced. We've seen a lot of the young energy being unnecessarily aggressive, unnecessarily insulting.
That is how you make the fame, very unfortunately.
Yes, it's very unfortunate. But like I said, I guess it's part of the trend. But for me, ultimately, when it gets results and it gets positive results, I think I'm all for that. Yeah.
But don't be surprised that I have been convinced that your decision to go independent in the next 4 years, I may also take a decision probably one day. Because I read a lot of sense from that. You need not join any party if you want to make a good brand for yourself in terms of politics. Because the two parties, unless you belong to a stronghold where you know that you are going to get into parliament, or if you don't belong to a stronghold, young people, I have met young people with greater ideas, but they are always saying politics is for a dirty game, it's for people who you will die, you will be killed. You know how it is. To a larger extent, they're also making points, actually. I don't know, Johnny, do you have any intention as well?
Yeah, not really. But I think the political behavior of people around the world is changing. Looking at, Trump being impeached for the second time, an MP going independent and still winning his state. I'm talking about the former MP. Now look at the numbers we have in parliament.
A hung parliament.
knowing how loyal we are to these political parties, looking at the numbers that the NPP pulled in the Volta region, the numbers that, both, vice versa.
You'll be shocked that, Johnila,
Yes.
you'll be shocked that the third stronghold of the NDC is Ashanti region.
Yes. You see, so the political behavior of people around the world is gradually changing. You get it? Look at the number of young people in the U.S. Parliament now.
Yeah. Yes.
It tells you that in as much as people still hold their political parties in high esteem, people are beginning to think about their future, their businesses, more than the political affiliations that they have. That one will not go anytime soon. I mean, the political loyalty will not go anytime soon, but it is changing. Now, in Ghana Parliament, people are running to get there as early as
4 a.m.
4, 5. It tells you that people, the citizens, are becoming more stricter on their representatives. So if you are good and they know you can deliver and you are also influential, you know what the people want. Trust me, they'll push you regardless of where you are coming from. You look at how Trump came into office. He came as an individual. He came as a businessman without any strong political connection. And it's not the only example we have. We have many of them around the world. So I think, people are looking for people who can best represent them at these levels. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see you go. Look at Kujo Nkrumah. From media, we know he has a business background, but from media, street. And look at his influence in government,
now,
not even parties.
Seriously.
A lot of the young folks now, they see, regardless of where they are coming from, they hold upon Nkrumah in a very high esteem. Some time ago, people were even, campaigning future president, because they know that even though he belongs to a political party, he has a lot to say. He has a lot to deliver. And people are tracking him with what he has done on radio. Who knows his political affiliation until he came out clearly? You get it?
Yeah.
So people are paying attention, and Amel has done a lot for this space. We know his credibility. Sorry to say this, but let's look at how the few issues hanging around Obuo's neck has affected him, because I was expecting the industry to fully support him. You get it? Let's look at John Zumelo. Let's look at how tough that competition was. So you see, anybody who has a political ambition, we wish the person well, but they should do their homework. They should know that the people on the ground, they have the power. They said that, we have the power. We are the government. We are now seeing that being coming clear now. The picture is becoming clearer now. So if you have a political ambition, always remember that the people first.
Let me conclude on this to both of you. Were you shocked when you heard A+ TPP becoming a political party?
Yes. Sorry, I have to answer that first. Sorry, I have to answer that. I don't believe in what he's telling us, that he wants to organize 1 million votes that will stand against these politicians. And we all know that behind doors, he still has a lot of affiliation. See, I'm happy. See, what he is doing, let's put the other thing aside. What he is doing, he's raising the consciousness of the people following him, for them to understand that, listen, politicians, you put them in that power to serve you. And we should also not forgetting that the way he's empowering the people, if tomorrow he gets a political power, he has to fulfill everything that he has pushed into the minds of these people all these years. You get it? And I want to see more of these things happening. It's quite unfortunate that the numbers are not going too well for Bobby Wine in Uganda, but it means a lot. He has been able to, raise the interest
more of a freedom
fighter.
fighter.
We, the people who claim we don't do politics in Ghana, are all pushing for Bobby Wine. Because
That is
we feel
shocking. That is shocking.
Yes, all the neutrals are apparently supporting Bobby Wine, which means that people want to see the new generation take over.
Don't be surprised. I've been impressed by Ameya's decision. It made me have second thoughts, actually. Ameya,
Like you're convincing him to come out more.
For me, that party is not one for me to even pay attention to. But yes, I think we need a third force, to a proper third force that will come and shake things up. But in all honesty, I don't want to even think that party
The
is the
TPP.
one. Yeah. No.
I think
So,
there should be an advocacy for young, vibrant men and women with deeper ideologies that can change this country. Because my few times on radio hosting political show, I've come to understand that we don't know anything as Ghanaians in quotes.
Yes.
Seriously, I've been able to dine with both political parties, and I've come to realize that no, we are just 0.2% accurate in what we know, as we don't know anything. Seriously, so I can form a party now and convince you to vote for me without understanding my purpose.
Yes, without knowing what exactly you
Seriously,
want to do.
the two
That
political
is why-
parties we have,
Yes.
okay, they are just being smart.
Yes. That is why we've naturally come to accept the fact that it's the MP who is supposed to fix the road, not necessarily a legislator.
Good.
in
A
parliament.
lawmaker is now becoming a developmentalist.
You get the point, and that is why there's one town that I've been like I stayed there for a while. The DCE doesn't care about anything because he knows that
He's not
everybody
responsible.
yes, everybody knows that it's the MP that is supposed to do this. You understand? So it is very unfortunate. So I'll be happy if the media we can. You see, these are areas where we have to venture as well. Let's echo the various roles that these people are supposed to play.
Yeah.
What is the role of an MP, DC, district chief executive, MC, and all? What do they represent? You understand? So that it's not because people don't even know why they have an assemblyman.
Yeah.
It's serious because look at it. Look at the kind of things we are entertaining in the media.
Seriously.
An assemblyman promising what?
Yes, and we are taking it for joke.
And we are taking it for joke and to go down with the people.
So do you
we have to
understand
be
as when I say we don't know anything as
yes, I agree
Ghanaians?
with you.
Because
Come
I'm
on,
telling you, one of the very lucrative jobs in Ghana is politics.
Yes, of course.
It's very lucrative. And the moment you invest, you reap.
Oh yes.
Until we understand politics, I was suggesting political education for the nation. Look, we need to start from the foundation. The children we teach from that foundation. If not, I'm telling you there is no future for me.
Yes.
I've been with both parties on my show, and I've not seen any future.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Because
I only see manipulation of the system.
Oh yeah. And that is the reality of the day because see these MPs are printing exercise book and giving it to the kids in the classroom with their biography or at the back. So 10 years later they will grow, or even at the age of 20, 30, 40, they will be expecting the MP to come and do the same thing.
Sure.
Because growing up they saw the previous MP doing that. You get it? So we have to. I don't know if we can really change that because I've listened to a lot of submissions by people in governance, people in all that, but it looks like not something that we can easily change now.
Yeah,
What
you see,
I know for sure
in
is
politics,
changing.
the
People
most
with power.
in politics, the most intelligent people are those in opposition.
Yeah.
When you get power, you forget about your pain. It's a long way. The media is the key player, but you see, the media is also being housed by politicians.
No, it's the politicians that are building your most influential media platform.
And that is because they have following.
Yes. You see, so it cannot be controlled. Just listen to what I just said. The most is the politicians that are building the most influential media platforms we have.
So when you are
how
employed
can
there,
you
you are
go
to
there
go
to
according to
educate?
their interest.
Yeah. Just look at the stations that play key role in calling the election.
Yeah.
How can you get it? So we have a long way to go, but I'm happy people like you are taking on the task.
Amayao,
Yeah.
I will soon follow you in your ambition. All right, let me say a very big thank you to you. And I have a lot of sponsors today. I've not even mentioned a lot of sponsors that help my show. Sparrow Securities. We have Sparrow Security. We have Summer Hill Estates. I have a lot of sponsors. Summer Block Factory. Thank you all very much for the support. Amayao and Jonila, I want to say your coming on board today has been very fruitful. With our followers, listeners, and viewers, I think
I'm grateful.
You've made a lot of impact, and society will be grateful for your contribution this morning.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so we shall talk behind the scenes then.
All right.
Thank you very much for joining me.
All right.
Yeah. It's been a great day. And I can tell you discussions. Big thank you to Johnny Lau and Amel Debra. I was shocked they had deeper intellectual knowledge about politics too. It's our #1 Saturday morning show. Socio-Political and Current Affairs program.
Yeah, we go. Okay, this is my motherland.
The forum is a show.
I go talk.
I've learned a lot. And I can tell you, Amel Debra has convinced me I may be joining politics sooner. He made me understand that you can go independent and through your ideas. But my guy be money. Great thanks to my sponsors. I want to say good morning to Obina Kechiku, who is a teacher, a political analyst, John Amwa, a teacher at Birmingham Anglican Basic School. I say good morning. I want to thank teachers because they resumed school. Prosper the is a headmaster, Birmingham Anglican. Good morning. Patrick Nisaki.
This is not a peace song, it's a love song.
We have a lot of discussions behind the scenes today.
Strong. See a peace we cannot risk. War at home is like cardiac arrest, cause home is where the heart is.
All star for 4 schools in Ghana, I say good morning to you.
We won is a battle for a peace. We promise on an honor that we'll never fight again. Cause Ghana is a happy place of joy we should defend.
The Ghana Education Service.
What's up, motherland?
Schools has resumed.
And eighth year.
Make sure you upgrade your teachers.
Johnila
is left. Johnila has left the GES to chase his passion. If you are still the GES and you have a passion, chase it.
Somebody for fight with a need for a peace.
Your passion is to stay and receive your reward in heaven. Stay.
Maybe we to protect the nation. Mother God and anyone I save it. Oh yeah.
About the
Do you want the best block for your buildings?
About the PP, hey, I want to know. Now, so would you walk here? From a wabo, what has some chon once it? Many bay use on Kenya, if you are, which as if you won't pay for Amazon, who are when you did your cocoto. A lady be okay.
Summer Block Factory is your #1 block factory in this country, Ghana.
I'm out with you all in him. It's all about a peace. Hey, Baloba.
You can get them on 050 153 8573. Get in touch with them. They are my #1 sponsors.
BBC. It's no more.
They are the people that make sure this morning show always comes every morning. The forum. For us to maintain our show, let's get in touch with our sponsors and thank them very much.
Pray for love.
The best security company in this country is Sparrow Security.
Pray for unity. Oh.
I watched a video of Sparrow Security personnel during their training. I can tell you, these are more than military in this country.
To make our nation better.
Those of you who have been asking me how they can get in touch with Sparrow Security Services,
Bring peace to
they are live at the East Legon Hill Santo Road.
nation better.
Get in touch with Sparrow Security for the best guards on 0243 318272. Sparrow Security is the number one security shop.
So that the peace
The
make.
number again is 0243 318272. Do you need a place to relax yourself? More than the luxuries of a hotel? Stay with your family and friends for weekends, for weekdays. A luxury environment. It is Summer Hill Estate. They have beds, best of rooms,
Motherland, Lady Ghana,
free Wi-Fi,
anything I go
a gym,
take a tiny
and
ball.
also a swimming pool,
And if he
well-decorated pool,
minimum won't pay. Male Bahi can you find the Bajamin Cabo?
and everything here is free.
I promise on my own, I'm going to try and Shona.
Summer Hill Estate, best rooms for you.
Shona.
Get in touch with them on 0552 531100.
The capital, Zahida Kai, Banda Bumbanchi, Bumbanchi.
Summer Hill Estate had the best luggage of a hotel.
Swalumchi.
Located at the Summer Hill Estate here, the East Legon Hills. Just call them on these numbers once again. 0552 531100. This on Facebook, you can watch a video, live video of Summer Hill Estate. On the 14th of February, I'll be having my vows day at the estate, Summer Hill Estate, with my loved ones.
Song, it's a love song. Peace and Ghana getting married, keep the love strong.
Somebody just asked whether I'm married. I'm not married, but I have loved ones, okay?
Caress, cause home is where the heart is. Let the trumpet sound victory. The battle that we won.
So if you want to meet me here on the 14th of February, don't worry.
We'll never fight again. Cause Ghana is a happy place of joy.
I'll be taking the last floor so I could monitor all the visitors.
Get 'em, what's up, motherland?
Whenever you come to Summer Hill Estates, just tell them you are here on protocol for Ellis Ferdinand. And I'm telling you, you shall be given a discount for free.
Still to fix things,
I'll be sharing more of their adverts on my social media platform. On Facebook, all followers should get ready. The best place to relax is Summer Hill Estate. Whenever you come, just tell them you are here on protocol from Ellis Ferdinand. Come with your family and friends. Call them on 0552 531100. Or just send me a message on Facebook, Ellis Ferdinand, and I'll get you all details for Summer Hill Estate. As I promised you, on the 14th of February, I'll be here at the Summer Hill Estate. For all my followers, just come through with discount for your families, your children, your spouse, your girlfriends and boyfriends. Just call 0552 531100. Sparrow Securities, call them on 0243 318272. And for the Block Factory, call them on 050 1538 573 or 0244 76281. Great thanks to my sponsors. We made it possible. The forum is the show. Your number one socio-political program and current affairs. My name is Ellis Ferdinand. I want to say thank you to my producers. Coach Ali, great thank you. I want to say thank you to all those who watch us on Facebook and those who listen to us on radio. It's Summer Radio GH on Facebook. Very soon I shall tell you more about Summer TV. And until then, I want to say goodbye. We shall meet same time Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on your favorite show, The Forum. And my name, Ellis Ferdinand. Yeah, they are see their PSM. I'll be better. I will say our radio show. And the more I'm your TV show, Facebook Live. I said I'm going to be brave. And those who join us from outside Ghana, from the Francophone countries, I say bonjour, bonjour, and bonjour once again. I received messages in French. Next week I'll be reading them. And until then, I say au revoir.
Okay, this is my motherland, Lady Ghana tiny. Anything I go talk, you make it tiny.